Nope.
My father went missing when I was 19 years old. It was after a week-long argument with my mother, resulting in my father being there the night before and gone by the morning. I was home during the summer break of my freshman year when it happened, and I have never felt so betrayed in my whole life. He was supposed to be there to see me graduate college, to be there when I was feeling down and needed someone to talk to. But all of those hopes were sliced away when I found out he took the easy way out. It really wasn't any different not having him around, though. Throughout my childhood, he would go back and forth from Korea to America. He would be with us for a couple of months before finding another great opportunity and flying back to Korea. So when he decided to run away from our home, I decided the best thing to do was just to forget about that man in general. When I went back to college, I focused on my studies. And after 3 years, I graduated with a degree in criminal justice. I met a lovely lady my sophomore year, and once we both graduated, we decided to get married. After we got married, we settled into a cozy 2-bedroom apartment and lived our lives happily for the next 2 years. I worked a retail job because the job market was shit at the time, so I had to take whatever was available. But come to find out, I had a real gift in sales. After a year, I reached management, and after another 6 months of bringing my store numbers up by 30% each, they decided that I deserved to be promoted to regional manager. When I got home, I told my wife the wonderful news, and she was excited to tell me her wonderful news. We were having a baby. Filled with excitement, we started to get everything ready in the second bedroom during the next 40 weeks. On the day that she was supposed to have the baby, I took a month off and waited patiently by her side. 3 days later, I was being shaken awake by my wife, and I knew immediately what that meant. 11 hours later, I was looking into the eyes of my beautiful son for the first time. We named him Gabriel, and he was everything I could ever hope for. He was certainly a smart child, too. He stopped using pacifiers on his own at 3 months, and he started walking by 10 months. At 1.5 years, he started using words in the right context, and by 2, he was speaking to us in short sentences. He knew both Korean and English, and was beginning to take a liking to singing. When my son was 3, I heard the unfortunate news that my mother had passed away. I took my wife and child 3 miles down the road where the funeral was being held. As I gazed into the hole where they placed the body of my only parent, I fell to the ground and began to sob. My son stood by my side and rubbed my shoulders as he told me, "It's okay, Daddy. You still have me and Mommy." With that statement, I regained my composure and looked at the family I had now. Feeling happy once again, I stood there for the rest of the funeral with my child and my wife in my arms. The next day, I was told that my mother's house was fully paid for, and I was the one to receive the house at the time of her death. Her life insurance also left us with about $100,000, and with that, we paid for everything we needed to set up the house to our liking, and put a sizable chunk into Gabriel's college fund. The first 3 nights in the house went by smoothly, and I felt completely at home. My wife loved the size of the house, and how it has 3 bedrooms with 2 full bathrooms. My son likes the fact that he now has 2 rooms to put all his toys in. The strange thing about the whole house is that my son has now started talking to the wall that is by his bed. It started off by him just staring at the wall and giggling. And then he proceeded to start saying little things like, "How old are you? What's your favorite color? I like cupcakes, do you?" Thinking he just had an imaginary friend, I let him talk to whatever he wanted to. On the 5th day, I was jolted awake at 5 a.m. to the sound of my son screaming. I ran out of my room and into his. I saw him sitting there, pointing to his wall, saying, "Don't show me the bloody face. Show me the nice face. I don't like the bloody face." Panicking, I pick him up and put him between me and my wife until he falls asleep. The next morning, while we are eating our breakfast, I ask him who he's been talking to. He responds back with James. I ask him if James is a friend of his, and he tells me that he is. Then I ask him what he was talking about when he told James not to show him the bloody face. His answer made me gag on my piece of toast. "James sometimes comes into my room with his face covered in blood, and he told me to tell you that he never left you." That day, I called a crew to come to my house and tear down the wall that my mother put up when I went back to college for my sophomore year. We used to live in a 2-bedroom house, but my mother told me that she wanted to make a 3rd bedroom in case I ever decided to move back with my family. I normally wouldn't be so drastic and tear down an entire wall, but my father's name was James. When the wall came down, I noticed a bag in the corner. I opened up the bag. Inside was a pile of bones and a skull right on top. My father never left me. My mother just became tired of arguing every single day. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe for future videos if you haven't already. Until next time, dear listener, stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.